Social Democratic YouTuber Kyle Kulinski gave some of his thoughts on the 2024 election and Trump and Elon Musk and the popularity of Trump in response to a concern from his friend Corin about whether or not Trump would win. Let's take a listen.
Bub, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on the election? Like, how are you feeling about the election?
I was going to ask you this.
Tell you right now?
I hate to say this, but I think Trump's going to win. Kind of like
What are your percentages? Give me your percentages.
I think he's going to win
like what, like 60% chance he wins, or like 80%? Like, what are you at in terms of the number?
Today I felt very strongly that he was going to kind of win in a landslide, like 70-75% that he was going to win.
Whoa.
And I just and I was going to ask you this because we kind of spoke about it last week. I don't think I follow Elon Musk on Twitter. Maybe I do. But all of the stuff I see, and I don't know if it's getting fed to me, is more right wing, like leaning. And people probably be like, "Oh, we're clicking on videos of like Trump or whatever." I think I'm getting fed more stuff. That's
You definitely are.
Yeah, I am, right?
You definitely are. That's what happened since Elon took over Twitter.
Yeah.
He's become like super pro-Trump.
Yeah.
And the algorithms are rigged in favor of right-wing slop.
They are.
So
right?
that's what gets super served to you. And so now, and I see it all the time too. I always get these garbage ass right wing. And if you think about it, I should be the type of feed that never gets anything from the right.
Yeah.
But I get super served total right wing garbage. But this is actually part of the problem for Trump though, is that I think the right has sort of gaslit themselves into thinking they're more popular than they are.
Really?
Because they've rigged the algorithms on Twitter. And I think that's going to bite them in the ass, because this is what happened in 2022 in the midterms. Like, they started getting high on their own supply a little bit, and they thought they were going to have a red wave. And then they didn't. And they didn't because they were too much in their own world, and they thought they were like running these ads attacking trans people and thinking that they were freaking it with that.
Yeah.
And then they got destroyed. And they got destroyed because abortion got overturned at the Supreme Court. You still had 51% of the Republicans who were running were still denying the 2020 election. And like those two issues by themselves, like people are sort of like, fuck you, get over it and stop, right? And like, so I think that Twitter is not a good like barometer of.
Okay, well that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, it's not like that right wing shit is getting put in front of you because it's like indicative of where the country's at. It's like that's getting put in front of you because that's what Elon wants everybody to see.
Yeah.
Because Elon is 24/7 sucking off Trump on the timeline and going to his fucking rallies and shit.
That's true.
You know?
I will also say though,
So that was really interesting. His point basically was that this stuff that you see on Twitter or X, this support for Trump that seems just monumental, like massive, like everyone is on the Trump train. It's astroturfed. It's being bolstered by Elon Musk. There are a lot of Twitter accounts that are right wing that are supporting Trump that have botted likes, meaning that their likes are not actually coming from real people, but they're coming from Twitter bots. This is a pretty new thing, a new phenomenon. 4 years ago, Twitter was not like that. And if anything, Twitter was more democratic, left-leaning. You may remember a lot of the people on Twitter during the 2020 Democratic primary were supporting Bernie Sanders, and it didn't seem like there was much Joe Biden support, and yet Joe Biden won the primaries. And we're kind of seeing the same thing here with Trump versus Harris. It's like there are a few good Harris supporters out there and a lot of big Trump supporters on X that get hundreds of thousands of likes in their posts supporting Trump, making these pro-Trump memes, whining about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and the Democrats and whatever, transgender bathrooms. It is fake. Let's be real about that. Now, there's also the question of, okay, does that mean something for this election? I think if you go on Twitter or X today and you base your entire view on how that will affect the election, you would probably come out thinking Trump has a 95% chance of winning the election based on what you see on Twitter and X. You'd see these pro-Trump posts getting 200,000 likes, and you'd be like, oh, okay, Trump's got this in the bag. He's got the populist momentum behind him. Everyone loves him. In reality, Trump probably has as much of as a 50 or 55% chance of winning the election. It's a close race. To the extent that Kamala Harris is the favorite, she's quite narrowly the favorite right now. A lot could still change in the next 2 weeks, but yeah, let's just be real that just because the Trump support on Twitter or X is fake doesn't mean that Trump support overall is fake. So Harris supporters, Democrats, and leftists need to be careful not to think that, oh, everything pro-Trump is astroturfed. If you go to plenty of areas of the country, you'll see lots of Trump signs. Trump supporters are very vocal. I think we can bank on a silent majority for Kamala Harris. I feel like not a lot of people are super wowed by her, but they are going to show up to the polls to vote against Trump. And yeah, they're not fans of the guy. 34-time convicted felon, incited an insurrection against the Capitol, promised to be a dictator on day one, quote, only on day one, but yeah, right. Project 2025. So yeah, there's a lot of issues there that is motivating people to vote against him. Continued 2020 election denial from both himself and his running mate, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance couldn't even be more moderate than Trump on that issue. But yeah, so I think Kulinski is mostly right here. I think he does need to also take into account that there's a lot of really vocal, loud, and proud Trump support in real life. At this point, though, it seems like we're not talking about the fact that there's going to be a secret Trump vote, because I think Trump supporters are just loud people. Trump voters are generally loud people who are be like, yeah, I voted Trump. I think at this point, there's a secret Democratic vote, and we need to see just how much that vote counts, how much that vote will be able to push Kamala Harris over the finish line and beat Trump. And you can also bet that the Republicans are going to throw massive temper tantrums on X and in real life if Trump does not win. I'm not saying it'll be violent. I'm not saying there'll be another January 6th insurrection. I'm not saying there'll be riots. But for crying out loud, these people, as Kyle Kulinski said, are gaslighting themselves into thinking that Trump is more popular than he actually is. In reality, virtually none of the policies that Trump supports are popular. You look at his tax cut bill. He signed an internet privacy bill that had a 6% approval rating. The guy is he never had an approval rating over 50% while he was president. That's probably the most striking thing about Trump's unpopularity. He was bragging about having a 50% approval rating at one point in his presidency. So he is not popular. Let's make no mistake. No matter how much Elon Musk or the phonies over at X may push this idea that he is, he's not. So they're going to be in for a very rude awakening if we see Kamala Harris pull out even a narrow victory, but let alone a landslide victory for Harris. That will get the Trump supporters absolutely enraged. It will be entertaining, but also kind of terrifying. So yeah, that's my take on what Kulinski said. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it interesting or insightful. As always, please do leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.